Doing drugs is one of those things that seem appealing but really aren't that appealing. According to an article on drugfreeworld.org, Why Do People Take Drugs? Published in 2016, people take drugs mostly because they want to solve a problem that really shouldn't be solved by drugs. Drugs may be that temporary solution, but eventually they become an even greater problem than what you started as. There are several causes for one to start doing drugs, but they all eventually have consequences. However, it isn't impossible to come back from drugs. After this speech, I would like you to have all the information needed to prevent other people from doing drugs. And we've all probably known somebody that has tried drugs or is even still using drugs. According to an article on recoveryconnection.com, 10 Reasons People Abuse Drugs, published in November 28th, 2016, the reasons people abuse drugs are unlimited. A lot of people do drugs only because they want to have fun and fit in. Drugs often allow this person using drugs to make themselves feel good and forget about the problem at hand. People often also take drugs just to have fun. However, what starts as fun usually turns into an even greater problem, such as uncontrollable addiction. Also, a lot of people do drugs to experiment and to also appease their peers. Often drugs start off as people being curious and experimenting. An addiction of this sort can start off with marijuana and ends up with cocaine, prescription medication, or even crystal meth or heroin. Oftentimes, when teenagers and adults are around people who abuse drugs, they tend to follow suit. Whatever reason a person uses drugs is not worth it, because drugs can often be very detrimental towards one's health. People may do drugs to help solve health issues such as stress or depression. According to an article on recoverygateway.org, Effects of Drug Abuse and Addiction, drug abuse and dependence can affect pretty much every single part of your body. Drugs can often weaken the immune system, which most times increases the likeliness of infections. Drugs can also cause many cardiovascular conditions. Among such conditions are abnormal heart rate or even heart attacks. Drugs can also lead to the collapsing of veins and the affection of blood vessels and heart valves. According to an article on drugfactsforyoungpeople.com, Why Drugs Are Bad, drugs can cause unrepairable damage to one's brain cells. The result of this would be the hijacking of the reward system, also known as the dopamine system, which is part of the limbic system, which controls our perception of all emotions. Most people would think it's impossible to come back from problems that drugs cause. However, there are ways to come back from addiction. According to an article on lucidatreatment.com, Healing Your Body After Drug Addiction Recovery, published on June 11th, 2016, recovering from addiction is a very long and hard road to travel. But there are ways to heal your body after addiction to drugs or any other manner of substances. According to an article on helpguide.org, Overcoming Drug Addiction, published in 2016. One really good way to aid recovery is to reach out for support. Really good support would be like your close friends or family. It would also be a very good idea to have sober surroundings, meaning it would be a wise choice not to be around people or groups who would not support the recovery of that person. Another really good way for a person to recover from doing drugs is to help them avoid a situation that could cause a relapse. To do that, you would have to have them avoid being around friends who are still doing drugs. One should also avoid bars and clubs. That person may not have a problem with alcohol, but alcohol itself causes you to have impaired judgment, which can often lead to a relapse. As you can see, there are many reasons to do drugs, and they all lead to health issues. But there are ways to come back from drugs. Therefore, it is our job to go around the world and prevent everyone around us and more from falling into the deep pit that is drugs. If we can do this, the world will be a much better place.